Hi, so in this video we're going to be looking at partial fractions again, and we're going to be looking at improper fractions. If you're not happy about using the cover-up rule, please quickly go and have a look at the video on that before we start this. Okay, so we're talking about an improper fraction. So when we talk about an improper fraction, we're saying that the degree of the polynomial on the numerator is the same or more than the denominator. Okay, so what we're talking about is basically whatever power of x is on the bottom and top. If they're the same, we get an improper fraction, or if it's higher on the top than the bottom, we get an improper fraction. Now, when we had improper fractions before, and we want to turn them into proper fractions, so if we had 9/4, we know that we can divide by 4 and would get 2, and we'd be left with a quarter. So you'd get a number plus a fraction. And it's the same here. We're going to get a number plus our partial fractions. That's what we're aiming for. Okay, so let's have a go here. We want to solve this. So the first thing we do is factorize the denominator. So x squared minus 4 is the difference of 2 squares, and we should be happy with that by now. That would give me x minus 2 and x plus 2 when we factorize it. And when we do this, we know, because it's a top-heavy fraction, that we're going to get a number plus our partial fractions, and the denominators of our partial fractions come from those two brackets there. Now, our a is very easy actually to find in this case. We just consider dividing our top by the bottom, and we only need to consider the x squared term. And hopefully you see if you divide 2x squared by x squared, you'd get 2. So just by inspection, we can see that a must be 2. And then b and c can be found using the cover-up rule. So if I want to find b, I look at the denominator of b. I say, when does that denominator go to 0? It goes to 0 when x equals 2. I then cover up my x minus 2 bit. Covers it up there. And then I substitute my 2 in whatever's left. So we get 2 times 2 squared minus 3 times 2 minus 6 over 2 plus 2. And that's what I got here. And I work that out and I get minus 1. Okay, I want to find c. I look at the denominator of c. I say, when does that go to 0? It goes to 0 when x equals minus 2. I then cover up my x plus 2, and then I substitute my x minus 2 in what's left. So it's 2 times minus 2 squared minus 3 times minus 2 minus 6, all over minus 2 minus 2. So that's what I've got here, and I get minus 2 when I sort all that out. Okay, again, as I say, if you're not sure about the cover-up rule, go back and have a look at the video on that. Okay, so then I've got my answer. I've got this top-heavy fraction becomes a number, which is this 2, plus my partial fraction, and the b from my partial fraction is the minus 1, and the c from my partial fractions is the minus 2. And so I just put those back in there, and that gives me my answer. Okay, I hope that's helpful.